Hey, thanks for checking out the video. As always, this is Sho, and for this video, we're taking a look at a game I wanted to cover a few months back, but needed some extra time to get through. For fans of mecha and robots, strap in because in this video, we're going to look at Super Robot Wars 30. But first, please feel free to like and subscribe, as those little gestures are a great way to send your love. With that said, let's jump in. For the uninitiated, Super Robot Wars is a very long-standing strategy RPG series that mixes and mashes the most famous robots of anime mecha with an original story. The mainline series has around 48 titles in it, and this newest iteration is a celebration of the series' 30-year mark. Typically, modern Super Robot Wars tend to follow a specific story structure. Boy or girl gets a high-powered robot, super starship battlecruiser gets revealed, and then cue adventure full of shenanigans. But what separates 30 from other titles, such as X, V, and T, is a more open form story. As you'll progress, you'll unlock various missions on a massive world map that begins with Earth and expands to the whole of the solar system. A nice touch added are the prerequisites that you can complete to unlock extra bonuses that expand the story or the skills of your pilots and robots. This really allows you to create your own path in a narrative, allowing you to choose what you want to do when you want to do it. In terms of the overall plot, I have joked before that no one really cares about the story, but really this is just a jab. The story itself of Super Robot Wars is a carefully crafted blending of all your favorite mecha anime in a very coherent way. The OG characters that are added for the overall plot really play well, along with the famous faces you'll come across. There's no doubt you will be enjoying yourself what this game has to offer for a story. Now, for visuals, audio, and performance, all are streamlined extremely well. And as this is a heavily licensed game, you will experience all of the best tracks of each anime included. This includes the themes from Mazinger, Code Geass, Grandman SSSS, and much, much more. So, if you're a fan of these anime, let me know in the comments which one of these is your favorite. As for visuals, they are awesome. A bit simple. Overall, battles play on a classic sprite design map, and battles are shown via a pseudo-chibi micro-anime style. However, some special attacks trigger full anime cutscenes that are super vibrant and are absolutely of the highest quality. There are no performance drops, no blurs, no pixelations. This game plays super smoothly. You will not be disappointed with the performance. Now, one final note. While the Switch version has not been released in the West, it is important to note that the Asia and Japan regions of the game support full English. So this is a super safe import or Japanese eShop purchase. So the game itself has two sections that are noteworthy to discuss. The battles, of course, and the intermissions. Now the battles are extremely straightforward. You have your ship, you deploy your units, then go ham. Okay, well, let's talk about it a bit more. Battles are done on a huge map which units occupy a square space. You're given objectives at the start of every battle, and you can proceed forth after selecting and potentially placing your units. This is a turn-based affair, so you will go first and act with all of your units. Once you end your turn, the enemy will begin theirs and take all actions with all of their units. Every turn, you have two primary actions with each unit, which is basically move and fight. It's important to note that fighting takes the utmost priority of the turn, as the unit can no longer move or do further actions once it attacks. Now, there are special pilot skills to change this, however, by default, this is the case. Aside from moving and fighting, all of your units have an EX action which can be done with EX points. These points are gained as you shoot down enemy units and provide very powerful one-turn bonuses, such as enhanced movement, double actions, or buff piercing. These are best used before making any actions to maximize the effects. Many pilots have access to spirit commands as well. These are unique to pilots and use SP, which is essentially mana. These can be triggered almost any time. Additionally, some pilots and robots have access to other special commands, such as repair, magic, and so forth, which most function like spirit commands. When attacking, you'll need to be within range of an enemy and the attack command will appear. Once activated, you'll see all possible attacks you can make. Some attacks are range-based and have ammo counts limiting the use per map. Some attacks require a certain morale, and some cannot be used if you move first. Once selecting an attack, you'll move to a prep screen where you'll see the potential outcome of the assault. These includes percentage to hit, damage numbers, and more. You can also use spirit commands here to tweak your attack to ensure a higher chance to hit or dodge. Confirm your choice and let it rip. You'll be treated to a nice cutscene and see the results. Also, there's a chance if you have the right pilot skills to have a support attack or defend to occur. This allows for one of your units to take a hit for someone else or to perform a bonus attack. If this condition gets triggered, you'll see it at the box at the bottom of the prep screen. Now, it's important to note that when you are attacked, most, if not all attacks, have the option to counter, defend, and evade. Counter will have you cause damage back, defend will lower the damage taken, and evade will drop the chance for you to be hit. In general, counter tends to be the best choice as you'll knock out enemies faster. However, evade is a good defensive measure as not getting hit is the best thing for keeping in the fight. Now, the second important part is the intermission. This is where you'll be upgrading and enhancing your team. After all battles, you get 3 currencies: credits, XP, and pilot points, and each has a specific use. Credits upgrades the robot stats and gets you your power parts, which are armors you can equip for additional stats or skills. MXP upgrades your ship and gives bonuses to your ship's stats, but can also provide discounts for upgrades or passive bonuses to your team. Pilot points are used to make pilot skill modules that allow for your skills to upgrade or to attain new pilot skills. These are basically skills that allow for the support attacks or moving after attacking, so it's extremely important to keep boosting your pilot skills and to keep discovering and seeing what the new skills can do. Now, you can also set supporters to provide extra passive bonuses for your frontline fighters, and you can even get extra instant use skills in battle. Though, to be honest, I basically forget to do this quite often, and I rarely do so. In principle, the game encourages you to play the way you want. You can start by upgrading the pilots and robots you most enjoy. You can use the MXP however you want. This makes the game extremely accessible to newcomers and allows for veterans to experiment with optimization and much more. On the default normal mode, many of the modern Super Robot Wars tend to be very easy, and 30 does not fall far from that tree. I don't feel it's the easiest of the ones available on the Switch. There were definitely a few times where I had lost due to a miscalculation or I just got a bit too relaxed. But in all, the AI has a very specific objective in each map, so they will go ham on what they need to do. With that said, there may have been times where the AI had a chance to destroy one of my robots very easily, but opted to attack another one with nearly full HP. Now, boss enemies I suppose would be the actual challenge, as many have a very large HP pools and usually have high evasion and defensive stats. Furthermore, some units and bosses have resistances to certain weapon types. For instance, units from Knights and Magic tend to take very little damage from energy weapons or ranged weapons in general, so you'll want to have some good melee hitters if you can. Given the huge assortment of units you can field at a time, being nearly 12 to 15 different units, you'll definitely have all the tools you'll need at a given moment. Now, other modes are available, but you purposely need to change it in the options menu. These are available at any time, so if you're looking to ramp up the challenge, it's there. I'll briefly comment on the hardest mode, S-Expert. In S-Expert, the specs of the enemies increase, but there really isn't any major changes to their behavior. In testing, my only loss condition was the destruction of my ship. The AI had a lot of opportunities to knock it down. I literally gave them the chance as much as possible to knock my ship out on S-Expert mode. And I even let it sit alone in the corner by itself, surrounded by units. But then the AI still prioritized units that were much farther away and were actually much stronger. So in essence, all I could say for the hardest difficulty mode is enemies take more damage and they hit harder, but they don't change their playstyle or any form of giving masterful tactics. To summarize then, the game is easy. However, that's sort of the image that Super Robot Wars goes for. You'll occasionally have special missions or situations with unique objectives, but in principle, you'll always be outnumbered, but you will never be outgunned. It's hard to choose a game that's already so easy, but there are a lot of small things that really can trivialize the game. To start, always upgrade your robots, especially the ones you really enjoy. There are no specific robots that need to be done first. However, it's not a stretch to say that the Huckabane 30 should be one of your priorities. As usual, the OG robot of the game is usually OP, so go ham on that one. For specific upgrades, you'll want to target your 5 main stats to 5 to get the custom bonus. But I would suggest a few early points into your weapons to really get that damage boost you'll want for the timed missions. Past that, mobility is broken, as the more you can evade attacks passively, the better you can use your counter skill to get more KOs. You also want to pop a few points into the sight for your accuracy to gain more hit. In practice, this should be the focus for all of your robots, but you can make small adjustments depending on unit and pilot. For instance, Callan and the Gwen type special are solid with mobility from the get-go, so a few points in the weapons and maybe HP would be a better start. Pilot skills, I would suggest support attacks first to maximize damage output. The enhanced attack for more damage after that. You may also want to get hit and run to increase your range of actions per round. Pilots also have a lot to do with evasion and accuracy, so crafting and using some of the skill boosts for them can go a long way in making your units last a lot longer. AOS, or the passive ship upgrades, can be taken in pretty much any way you want. I personally maxed out the labs first. That way I can get more MXP after each battle, and I get a power part for getting even more based upon how far I move per match. Then I went into upgrading the hangar for cheaper upgrades, but you may want to do quarters first to start boosting morale and SP so you can gain access to your special skills quicker during a fight. On that note, farming for credits and MXP is doable using power parts that provide a bonus based upon distance covered. So just keep defending or evading and go back and forth for free loot. Finally, I'm sure you'll want to know which of the robots are the most powerful. Well, honestly, they're all strong, but there are some that stick out a bit more. Early on, Gridman and Cybester are two good hard-hitting units with excellent evasion. Koji's Ichinana is also a strong hitter that comes with a repair kit for heals from the get-go. Also, the Combattler V had some of the hardest hitting attacks early on, but it does suffer from mobility issues. Honestly though, these are just my own opinions, so you should really just pick and choose your favorites. In a gist, Super Robot Wars 30 is a streamlined SRPG experience that celebrates the series and just makes you giddy. For newcomers, it's a simple, interesting strategy RPG that just keeps hitting you with the juice. Veterans may find the higher difficulty levels more appealing, as you'll get more resistance and have to be a little bit more careful with how you play, but do keep in mind that many enemies have very simple mechanics of programming and scripts that they follow. Alright, now if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. If you've imported this one or you are considering it, let me know in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to subscribe and like the video. Those little gestures of love really help the channel grow, and just thank you so much for giving me your love. As always, this is Show, and remember, if the going gets tough, just switch strats. Cheers!